This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Two booming tourism markets are combining in a major coup for the Hobart Airport. After a 7-year hiatus, Jetstar has announced new direct flights between the capital and Adelaide, with 40,000 seats expected to be filled each year. The investment by the airline targeting young travellers, with experts predicting both cities are the place to be for hipsters.
For those who travel between Hobart and Adelaide, it's no secret the trip can be long and tedious.
As it stands, if you want to get to Adelaide, or for people who want to come to our beautiful state from there, it can be between 4 and 6 hours to do so.
From November, a new service will take off, allowing a direct route between the two capital cities, cutting down travel time to just under 2 hours, with flights 3 times a week.
We could see the consumer demand. I think both the Adelaide market but also Hobart are really growing as places for people to visit, and so it was the best place to provide the next flight.
We've seen the South Australian market grow from around 43,000 to 52,000 in the last 4 years. That's without direct services and very limited marketing stimulus.
The tourism sector says it's a burgeoning path for young travellers.
Look, I wonder if we can dub it the hipster route of Australia. I mean, there's something really special about Adelaide and Tasmania at the moment. It's the two destinations that I think are coming to their fore, and obviously there is an unmet potential.
And with the new runway extension due for completion as early as March next year, it seems sky is the limit for new flights to emerge.
We will always look at where demand and where people want to go and adjust our schedule accordingly.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
The Launceston Supreme Court has heard one of the 6 Tasmanians accused of kidnapping a Victorian man for money asked for advice on how to increase bank transfer limits during the alleged incident. Week 2 of the trial began this morning with 3 police officers and a female witness giving evidence. Our reporter Monika Dadson has the details.
Molly Bantic told the court she lived with one of the accused brothers back in early 2015. She said on the morning of February 12 that year, a group of men were in her backyard, including her housemate's brother, Malcolm Main. Malcolm asked if he could use my phone because his friend needed to check his bank account, she said. Ms Bantic added they had a conversation about how to increase bank transfer limits before she took her phone to a man sitting in the middle of the shed. 6 people, including Mr Main, Kane and Sean Richardson, Christopher Humphreys, Matthew Williams and Carly Deckers, are charged with kidnapping and assaulting Anthony McHale over 3 days at various locations in the north and northwest. The accused allegedly demanded more than $70,000 to settle McHale's debt. When defence lawyer Evan Hughes suggested to Miss Bantic there was nothing unusual about the bank transfer questions, given she worked at the Commonwealth Bank at the time, she agreed. 3 Tasmanian police officers also gave evidence today. One said he interviewed the alleged victim in 2015 and he did have visible cuts and lacerations. The jury has been advised it won't be needed tomorrow as legal arguments take place. The trial will instead resume on Wednesday.
Tasmania Police is appealing for information in relation to an armed robbery on Cadbury Road at Claremont at around 6:30 last night. Police would like to speak to a man described as being in his early 30s, of medium build, 175 centimetres tall, with unshaven dark facial hair and wearing dark clothing. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Glenorchy Police Station. The body of a man believed to be in his 40s was discovered on a rocky shore at Abels Bay near the Huon River earlier today. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the man's death. Anyone with information is urged to contact Tasmania Police. The Tasmanian Labor Party has announced its new look shadow cabinet, with 2 key portfolios given to MPs who are going to retire before the upcoming state election. It's ahead of a busy first day back for Parliament tomorrow, with the legality of Taswater again expected to ignite debate.
It's Tasmania's new look opposition.
We have new members and we have more members, so we have been able to distribute our portfolio loading.
A portfolio offload for the Labor leader, new MLC Sarah Lovell to take the mental health role for Rebecca White, new MP Shane Broad to pick up mining and infrastructure, in addition to the shadow primary industries and water portfolio.
Obviously I've been in Parliament now 4 months and I haven't been in Parliament for years and years, and I've still got a lot to learn.
The government quick to jump on the flagged retirement of two of Labor's more experienced MPs, Lara Giddings and David Llewellyn, who retain key portfolios.
Two Labor MPs have said they don't want to be part of the team. One's in the ejector seat under attack from her own members, so it's an indication of a party divided.
It's really difficult to understand how the Labor Party could have a reshuffle in 2017 and not have a climate change portfolio.
While the Greens are calling for a reset of a different kind, moving to have the daily Lord's Prayer replaced with a personal reflection.
When only about half of members say it, it doesn't reflect the diversity of Tasmania's cultures and faiths.
Tomorrow is set to launch a busy sitting week in Parliament, Taswater legislation expected to spark debate. The corporation says a review of the takeover bill confirms it's unconstitutional, despite assurances from the government of its own legal advice.
I suspect that legal advice is caveated, maybe not legal.
We're very strong grounds for what we are doing. It's the view we've formed, and that's what's driving us.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Public hearings as part of an inquiry into the King Island shipping and freight service began on the island today. Murchison MLC Ruth Forrest and chair of the inquiry says today's discussion found a shipping service to and from Victoria is just as needed as one to and from Tasmania. The public hearings also discussing an upgrade to the grassy port, but acknowledged this would be costly. The hearings will continue on the island tomorrow and begin in Hobart on Thursday. A group of Tasmanian nanas have done their bit to support people in need by creating different woolen items to donate to charity. The group knitted a whopping 759 items over the past 12 months. Today, the jumpers, teddies and blankets were all donated to St Vincent de Paul.
You're helping somebody that, little children, and that's probably hasn't got a mum, mightn't have a dad, mightn't have much money with parents and stuff, and they need something warm and cuddly, especially through the winter months and things like that.
There's a lot of need out there. A lot of it's hidden, but it's there. So that with these clothes, these warm jumpers and what have you, especially young families, women and young families, because often they struggle.
Vinnie says the items will be distributed to Tasmanians in need. Hobart City Council could be leading the country by 2020 by banning single-use plastic takeaway containers from food venues. Aldermen will vote tonight on whether to make an amendment to the Environment Health Bylaw. If successful, a report will be delivered on how to implement the changes.
So I think people are sick of plastic lying around in the streets and on the beaches, and it's time. There's a huge movement to get rid of plastic pollution. So this is part of the, a long-term campaign to remove plastic pollution from the environment.
The impact on businesses is almost negligible, but the impact on the environment can be very positive, and we should be moving in that direction.
Look, we'll consider the merits of the proposal and also any implications it might have for Tasmanian businesses.
Sustainable Living Tasmania says a citywide ban would prompt other councils to follow suit. Tasmania is soon to have its own Reconciliation Council, with the new organisation being launched in Hobart on Wednesday. As the last state to have its own council affiliated with Reconciliation Australia, organisers say it will be an historical day for Tasmania.
And this will create an opportunity for all Tasmanians to get involved in truth and reconciliation in this state in a way that perhaps they've not done in the past.
Buses will pick passengers up from Scottsdale, Smithton and Huonville for the event. Children from a Margate primary school today received some special visitors with an important message for Dental Health Week. These Prep Grade 1 students given tips on how to keep their mouths and their dentists happy.
So I help the dentist out. You need to be educated on how to look after your teeth, clean them properly and have a good diet, and unfortunately a lot of people don't get to the dentist early enough to learn those skills.
We have to wear sunglasses and bibs. We have to look at the dentist and listen what they are saying.
Children should brush their teeth for at least 2 minutes each time and limit the intake of sugary treats. A $20,000 crowdfunding campaign to make an innovative new brew has begun in a bid to save our giant freshwater lobster. Tasmanian brewer Moo Brew teaming up with the Wilderness Society to launch its giant lobster ale. The world's largest freshwater lobster is only found in Tasmania, lives for around 40 years and can grow to the size of a small dog. All profits made from the beer will go towards protecting the endangered creature. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher after the embattled Commonwealth Bank regained some lost ground. Prices for iron ore and oil lifted, and better than expected jobs data out of the US boosted Wall Street over the weekend. The ASX 200 index has risen by 53 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79 US cents and 107.3 New Zealand cents.
After showing plenty of guts in the back half of the TSL season, Devonport coach Mitch Thorpe says the sky is the limit for the club moving forward. Thorpe's belief in his young side has been rewarded, with the entire playing list signing back on for next year.
The Pies' hard-fought win over the Tigers on the weekend was just their second of the season, but for a side that's had to battle tooth and nail all year, it may as well have been a premiership.
Their enthusiasm and drive to be there is second to none, and full credit to them. With the season under their belt, you know, the sky's the limit for the future. All our juniors won finals footy yesterday, so we know where we're headed as a club.
And although the season isn't quite done just yet, Thorpe says the club is already excited for next year, with the Pies set to retain the entire group.
They're very committed. They've already all signed on, and I can tell how committed they are by the way they've attacked training and the games in the back half of the year.
Meantime, the TSL is investigating claims a Clarence trainer allegedly struck North Launceston assistant coach Jay Lockhart just after the halftime whistle during Saturday's UTAS Stadium clash.
I actually wasn't there. I walked off the ground to meet the players at half-time in the room. So I actually didn't see the incident, but I know that there's been an incident report made, and it's in the hands of the AFL Tasmania and the match review panels.
Webberley also brushing off suggestions his players are burnt out following a recent string of underwhelming performances.
You know, our ability hasn't changed. I don't think the players are tired. I just think that we've probably lost that real hunger and that real mindset that we had at the start of the year. We were really hungry to prove people wrong.
And the votes are in for the RACT Insurance Player of the Year in the TSL after round 18, with Reece Mott's efforts earning him the 3 votes during Glenorchy's clash with the Blues. Bryce Walsh impressed once again for Lauderdale in their thumping of the Dockers. Beau Sharman was judged best of field in Devonport's hard-fought win over the Tigers. And Tom Bennett is peaking at the right time for North Launceston, taking the votes for his work around the ground during Saturday's thumping of the Roos. Taking a look at the leaderboard, and Jay Bowden remains on top with 17 points, 1 vote clear of Tom Couch. Brad Cox-Goodyear sits 3 votes back from his teammate, with Jackson O'Brien and Bryce Walsh tied on 12 votes. AFL Tasmania has defended its decision to send young Tasmanian footballers to play in Victoria's TAC Cup at a crucial time of the TSL season. Harrison Gunther and Tom Mundy both played well in the competition over the weekend, with AFL scouts watching on.
Last week, Lauderdale coach Darren Winter had this to say about the new initiative.
Glenorchy lost Gunther last week. What a disgrace.
But state talent manager Jai Bond wasn't paying too much attention to the comments.
And it's not like we're just plucking kids randomly out. They're being selected by AFL clubs. It's my job to give the boys the best opportunity at reaching their dreams of playing the AFL, and it can't hurt.
Bond travelled to Victoria over the weekend with Glenorchy's Harrison Gunther and Burnie's Tom Mundy as they competed for TAC Cup sides, the Western Jets and Northern Knights.
He played a really, really good game. Tommy slotted in very well. I think at the first contest of the game, 10 seconds in, he backed back into a pack and took a really courageous mark, and I think he set the tone for the boys.
Bond says he's heard from 5 AFL clubs following the weekend, expressing interest in both Gunther and Mundy.
They've both been invited to the state combine in Victoria on the 6th of October.
And despite Winter's views, Bond plans to send more players into state if the opportunity arises.
And I think the stats are that 60% of the combine come from the TAC Cup and 57% are drafted from the TAC Cups.
To NPL, and belief is at an all-time high in the Launceston City camp after the side clinched its 4th win in a row over the weekend against the Zebras. It's the first time the club has done it since the reintroduction of the statewide competition.
There was just a point where the boys just got sick of losing. And yeah, we just rallied together and just started to show our true quality.
But the road ahead looks tough, with City taking on Olympia and league champion South Hobart in their next 2 matches. And it's been a meet to forget for Tasmania's representatives so far at the World Athletics Championships in London, with King Island runner Stuart McSwain failing to qualify for the steeplechase final after finishing 14th in his heat. 2017 Cadbury Marathon winner Josh Harris failed to finish in the marathon event due to an ongoing stress fracture in his foot. And just finally, the TSL seems to think it's found its goal of the year, and it's hard to argue, with Launceston forward Rulla Kelly-Mansell pulling off this miracle snap from an impossible angle during Saturday's match against Glenorchy. The TSL will post all the best goals online at the end of the season, and the one that gathers the most votes will take out the goal of the year.
Good evening. Hobart, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport, all 13 degrees today. Temperatures range from -6 at Lyowini to Bushy Park's high of 14. However, temperatures were generally below average. Cloudy weather over the north and east with a few showers elsewhere. Ringarooma had 56 mils to 9 a.m, while today Fisher, the best reading with 5 millimetres. Strawn, Campania and Wynyard 13 degrees. Low Head and the Bass Strait Islands 12. Friendly Beaches and Grove 11. Now, cloud covers much of southeastern Australia due to a complex area of low pressure over our region. Middle and upper level cloud over southern Western Australia is building ahead of a front and low pressure system to its south. A mix of high and low cloud over Tasmania for most of the day today. That low pressure zone will move off to the east tomorrow as a high over central Australia moves across. That cold front moves over Western Australia during the afternoon. Southwesterly winds at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the east and at first over the north offshore. Winds shifting more westerly later. A strong wind warning coming up too. That's for waters between Stanley and Tasman Island, so pretty windy over the northeast. For tomorrow, an early shower or two for Hobart, a top of 13, 12 the high for Adventure Bay, a shower and showers for Tarraleah, 9 the maximum. Launceston, a morning frost, a sunny afternoon, 15 the top, 14 for Devonport, sunny for Bridport, 15 degrees. Burnie, partly cloudy, 13. A few showers in the west, Strawn 12 along with Marrawar, and for St Helens tomorrow, sunny, 15, 14 for Swansea, white mark on Flinders Island, 13 degrees. On Wednesday, an early frost and fog and fine apart from a clearing shower over the west and far south. A fine start to Thursday until showers develop over the west and north in the afternoon. Showers statewide on Friday, but little reaching the east coast. Snow to around 800 metres. Rain for Perth tomorrow, partly cloudy for Adelaide and Canberra. Late showers forecast for Melbourne with 15 degrees, sunny in Sydney and Brisbane. And I didn't know it until the head of the Tourism Council mentioned it tonight. Hobart, the hipster capital of Tasmania, currently showery. Launceston 9 and cloudy, and clear in Devonport and 8 degrees. And congratulations to you too, Joe. I hear you're using your clothing allowance very frugally. I can't believe that dress only cost you $12.
I know, it was a bargain. Thank you very much, Murph. Bit like your ties. Well, that's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We will see you a little bit later with updates. Bye-bye.